Datila, and welcome to the TNA post show. I am flying solo today as Burt Macklin is on vacation, but we got to talk about tonight's show because tonight's show was a lot of fun. But before we get into tonight's show, let's talk about Explosion. Explosion during the Around the Ring segments. The guest was the frontman Alan Angels, and he had a very interesting segment. You know, he kind of just talked about his tattoos, but I really like these Around the Ring segments because we get to learn more about these wrestlers. We see them in a different light. However, I do wish we had more from Explosion, not just the Around the Ring segment and the one lone match that we've gotten. So the match that we got on Explosion was Tasha Steelz versus Ali Kaj. This was a good match, great match by both ladies. The last time we saw Ali Kaj, show went by fast. Yes, it did. The last time we saw Ali Kaj, she actually lost to Masha Slamovich in the Monsters Ball match. Now, I have to say, I do miss the old format of Explosion. It was 2 matches in the Around the Ring segment. I mean, Explosion is like 40 minutes. If you take out all that recap and stuff, you can do so much more with Explosion. Why not make angles out of Explosion? You know, the Explosion is on the TNA app and on digital media. Have Laredo Kid defend the digital media title every week or every other week on Explosion. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't be on Explosion. It's digital media. But they could do so much more. I don't know why they stopped doing 2 matches. I really love the 2-match format. The 1 match is okay, but I prefer the 2-match format. And like I said, that Around the Ring segment with Alan Angels, really good. Enjoyed it. I like learning more about these wrestlers outside of the ring. So, but what did you guys think of Explosion and of the Around the Ring segments and the 1-match format? Let me know in the comment. Hey, Eric. All right. So that covers Explosion. Now let's talk about tonight's show, which kicked off with Ash by Elegance versus Xia Brookside. So if Ash by Elegance won tonight, Xia Brookside would give her back her bejeweled brass knuckles, basically. Io says, I agree, add more matches to Explosion, right? Thank you for agreeing with me. So I think this was a good match by Ash by Elegance and Xia Brookside. Xia Brookside is an incredible talent. We need to showcase her more. She's had matches, good matches so far in TNA. But one of the things that I thought was so hilarious was Iceman, he had the whole referee shirt underneath. He just tried to be the referee for this match, but that didn't happen. And of course he got involved in this. Now at the end, even though Ash by Elegance won with a ratified air, Xia Brookside, she just knocked poor Ash by Elegance out with her own brass knuckles. Talk about adding insult to injury here. She went down. But good match. Xia will be a star. She definitely is a star. She definitely is a star on the rise. Okay. So next we get a Rosemary Viennette, and she's basically talking about Havoc. Havoc got attacked by Ash by Elegance after their match. I mean, she got a DDT'd on the ramp. Now, an interesting thing was that Rosemary, she mentioned the bunny. Let me see. Ash may have won the battle, but Xia had the last laugh at the end. Oh, she definitely did. Power punch, GB Regal approves. Yeah. Xia will be a bigger star. She definitely is. So it's interesting that Rosemary mentions the bunny. She has a bunny on her cane. It's not the first time she mentions the bunny. When she was on the Around the Ring segment, she also mentioned the bunny. So very curious. I mean, with Havoc being gone, are we going to potentially see the return of Ali to TNA? What do you guys think? It kind of seems like they might be hinting at it. But I'm very curious to see what this leads to. All right. We get a Kushida segment, and he's basically approached by Santino Marella, and he asked him if he was feeling okay. You guys remember, Kushida suffered from the ink, and so did Santino Marella when he encountered Jonathan Gresham. They both mentioned that they were feeling sick, but they're okay now. And Santino asked Kushida if he would be okay for his match with Explosion. Kushida said he was. So very interesting to see what this is going to go. I wonder, I don't want to compare. I really don't. It would be interesting if Ali comes back from the dead. That would be interesting. I don't want to compare, but what if this is kind of like the equivalent of, when Julia Hart spat that mist in a sky blue and kind of corrupted her? I wonder if that's what's going to happen here. Like, maybe that ink that Gresham spilled will slowly kind of corrupt them in a way. Contagious ink. Yeah, right? Exactly. So, very curious to see what they do with this whole ink thing. But let me know in the comments what you guys think that they'll do. Okay, we get the frontman Allen Angels versus Leon Slater. And this was a great match. Like, I really like this match. This was a first time ever match. There was a stalemate early on in the match. And I would not mind seeing this match again because this was incredible. Leon Slater is only 19 years old and he's a star on the rise. We need to see more of Leon Slater. We need to see more of Allen Angels. I really like the sound check, but I think it's criminal that he's not featured every week. I was just about to mention this. So during the match, the ref got sick. He started coughing up Gresham's ink, and it's the same ref that from Under Siege and from last week. So very interesting that he did get sick too. And so Leon Slater went after he hit a leg lariat in a 450 swanton. Leon is a future hero. He definitely has a bright future ahead of him. And then afterwards, Khan came out and he snapped Angel's neck, to get him back from last week on the sound check. He was basically saying that SDL and Khan were like a couple. Security tried to stop Khan, but he snaps one of the security guards' necks. And Khan yells at Leon Slater, "You're mine," because Leon Slater tried to take him down. So I think we might see a match between Leon Slater and Khan. And I think that Leon Slater will probably beat Khan in that match. Okay, we get an interesting Jake something interview here. He's talking to Gabby, who also interviewed Ash by Elegance last week. And she kind of brings up the fact that when she asked Ash by Elegance what her name is, she got offended. And the same thing happens here. Jake something asked Gabby what she was trying to imply. And he got really mad because he thought that she was mocking him. And if she brought him out there to mock him for losing a couple of matches. He blames his last loss on Dina. Now, I have to say, and I've talked about this before, Dina is the reason Jake something lost his last couple of matches. He went out there and basically caused Jake something these matches. As Jake something points out, that Dina didn't ask him, nor did he tell Dina to go out there. So he brings up the fact that Dina asked people. And, Cody Deaner comes out and stuff and starts talking about how Jake something's angry. But he's not angry at those people. He's angry at the people in his past. And he brings up the fact that him and Jake are cousins. Now, if you guys remember, Cody Deaner and Jake something were a tag team before Dina betrayed him and joined Violent by Design, which is something that Jake something brings up here. And especially when the Diener says that he is with Jake something turns it around and tells him that just like when he was there for him, when he turned his back and joined Violent by Design, cousins fight. Yeah, they do. Cousins do fight. And, Dina finally apologizes for that. And he says that Jake something's headed down a dark path, the same dark path that he walked many years ago. And he's concerned about this. And at the end of this, Jake something clotheslines Cody Deaner. So this caught me off guard because I was not expecting Jake something to clothesline Cody Deaner. I thought with this whole people's choice gimmick that Diener would be the one to turn heel, especially because the people have gotten him in some weird situations, a 2-on-1 handicap match with the GYV and all of this other stuff. So I'm really surprised that they did Jake something as a heel. Like I said, it was Cody Diener that cost him those matches. I know he meant well, but because of him, Jake something lost. But what did you guys think of Jake something's heel turn? Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. So we get an interview with Speedball Mountain, and they're basically just talking about them as a tag team and about how they beat ABC. And their next week, they will face each other to determine who gets to face Mustafa Ali for the X Division Championship. And honestly, I cannot wait. Please let it be Speedball Mike Bailey. Imagine Speedball Mike Bailey versus Mustafa Ali. I think that match happened at Prestige. It needs to happen here in TNA. It really does. I am going to pray to the wrestling gods, Moose and JBL, that we get that match. Because that's going to be an incredible match. And I'm sure Trent Seven versus Mustafa Ali would be a great match too. But I personally would want to see Speedball Mike Bailey versus Mustafa Ali. But let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below, which match would you rather see? Trent the Seven versus Mustafa Ali or Speedball Mike Bailey versus Mustafa Ali? I think it should happen in Montreal in Slammiversary. Okay, I can see that. Because I feel like, you know what, you do bring up a good point, because I feel like whoever wins between Speedball Mountain will go on to face Mustafa Ali against All Odds, and against All Odds is in Chicago, Mustafa Ali's hometown. There's no way that Mustafa Ali is going to lose in his hometown. Whoever he faces is probably going to get booed, because the crowd's totally going to be behind Mustafa Ali. But so yeah, I definitely see it happening at Summerversary. I hope it happens. Especially because Speedball is Canadian, so he would have the home field advantage. Okay, we get Frankie Kazarian versus Steve Macklin, and I thought this was a great match. I was very curious to see who would win this match. I was pulling for Steve Macklin because I like Steve Macklin, but I would have understood if Frankie Kazarian won. And typical Frankie Kazarian, telling poor Jade to tell all the idiots that he's the king of TNA. They should bring back King of the Mountain, and Frankie Kazarian should win King of the Mountain. So Frankie Kazarian wins with the fade to black. But the reason why he wins is because the Rascals caused Steve Macklin this match. Trey Miguel caused a distraction, and while he had the ref's attention, Zachary Wentz came in and spray painted Steve Macklin, allowing Frankie Kazarian to pick up the win. Now, this whole situation is interesting because remember, Steve Macklin originally aligned himself with the Rascals to take out Nick Nemeth and Speedball Mountain. But then he pretty much ditched them. They got mad. It's payback from last week. Oh, yeah, definitely. And then Steve Macklin, when he tried to recruit them, they basically left him alone in there with Mike Santana. And he attacked Trey Miguel. He had Zitzo himself at Under Siege. He attacked them last week. So this was them getting their payback. And as they say, payback's a bitch. So I'm very curious to see how Macklin would take on the Rascals, considering that they're a tag team and he really doesn't do well with others. I mean, look at this alliance with Frankie Kazarian. This is where it got him. It was supposed to be a temporary alliance, and now we got this match because Macklin was just done with his alliance with Frankie Kazarian. So I'm very curious to see what the rivalry with the Rascals does with Macklin here. Is he going to find a temporary tag team partner? Who do you guys think who would help Macklin with the Rascals? Can't quite put a finger on it. Okay, we get a Giselle Shaw vignette. And these vignettes are very interesting because Gail Kim is in there. And she's offering guidance to Giselle Shaw. And Giselle Shaw basically says that Gail Kim told her not to rely on anyone. And, long story short, Gail Kim extends her hands to Giselle Shaw. So is Gail Kim coming out of retirement? Is she? What is this going to lead to? because I'm intrigued by this. I'm very intrigued. A match, a tag team. What do you guys think? I really still think that 2024 is going to be quintessential, and 2024 is going to be the year Giselle Shaw becomes Knockouts champion. I mean, she's incredible. It's criminal that she hasn't been Knockouts champion yet. She should be the one to dethrone Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace is defeated Trinity back at Hard to Kill. She's coming into what, like 4 months as champion? So who's going to take that title off of her? I say Giselle Shaw. We get a Mike Santana interview, part 2 from last week's interview. And this was an interesting interview, and it was an emotional one, too. I think Gail will help Giselle in some form. I think so, too. He was basically talking about how him going to rehab and about the last 5 years. And, everything that he's been through has led to him asking for his release in AEW. He's got a lot of respect for Macklin. He said that he knew coming in he would want to make a statement. It had to be against Macklin, and he's there to take spots. So I think that right now they're probably keeping Macklin with the Rascals until he picks up his rivalry with Mike Santana again. And I think that Mike Santana might be the one to take the TNA belt off of Moose. If not Mike Santana, definitely Nick Nemeth, but I do see Mike Santana becoming TNA World Champion. We get a first class segment. His daughter writing that note wanting him to get better was a tearjerker. Yeah, it was. That was really sweet and such a tearjerker. We get a first class segment, and they're in their little VIP box scooping out the Champions versus Challengers challenge. And they say that it doesn't matter if it's the X Division, the digital media, the tag teams, or the world title. They just want gold. And if you're not first, you're last. So, as everybody's coming out, Joe Henry cuts a promo. Typical Joe Henry promo. Joe Henry is hilarious. And he starts talking about Henry Mania. And about how, the Surgeon General talks about the only way to cure, all the sweat that's going to happen is chanting, "We believe." I don't know about you guys, but I believe 252 pounds of pure motivation, the answer to all of life's problems. I believe in Joe Henry. Team Joe Henry believers versus team champions, right? So this is an 8 versus 8 champions challenge. It was the champions versus the All-Stars. The All-Stars being Matt Hardy, Steph Delander, Ryan Nesmith, Sami Callihan, Spitfire, Joe Henry, and Eric Young versus the champions. It was Mustafa Ali, the System, Masha Samovich, Jordynne Grace, and Laredo Kid. Every time I heard All-Star, I kept thinking of the song, "You're an All-Star, get your game on, get played." So I thought this match was really interesting because it kind of created some interesting scenarios here. During this match, Mustafa Ali tried to tag in, but the System refused to tag him in. By the way, for the record, Mustafa is still undefeated and does not count this. Yeah, I was just about to get to that. So because the System refused to tag in Mustafa Ali, he walked away. He took his title, and he didn't want his name associated with this match at all. So, like Ayo said, because of that, he's still technically undefeated. And one interesting thing that I thought that I noticed was Jordynne Grace went after Sami Callihan when Sami Callihan was the one who helped her during his match with Steph Delander here. I really like that sequence where Jordynne Grace took out Sami Callihan, and then Eric Young took out Eddie Edwards, and then Laredo Kid took out Eric Young, and Jordy Dead took out everybody on the outside. And that was a really cool sequence here. This was also Ryan Nemeth's in-ring debut for TNA. Josh Alexander would have been in this match had he have been cleared to compete. Joe Henry getting the win for his team after he did a standing ovation to Brian Myers. So because of that, the All-Stars won this match. And then at the end, we need to do this Champs versus All-Stars every year. I agree. It should happen every year because this was a really fun match. And like I said, it brought some interesting scenarios. Like at the end, PCO rose from the dead, I guess you can say, and crashed the party. And he had a mysterious black bag with him. And you guys know usually that black bag means thumbtacks. And so PCO was like pulling stuff from this bag, and he eventually found a black rose and he gave it to STL and she accepted it. You guys know STL has been kind of seducing PCO the couple of times that they've been in the ring together. And last time at Under Siege, it looked like he was going to kiss her. So very curious to see where this goes with STL and PCO. But aside from that, we getting a wedding, aren't we? Yeah, I guess so. I guess we might get a wedding. But with that being said, this was a solid episode of TNA Impact. TNA once again delivering. People, I cannot believe at this point there are still people sleeping on TNA. I don't know what more to say to get people to watch TNA. Solid show every single week. But let me know what you guys thought of tonight's show in the comment section or in the live chat box below. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever BodySlam goes live. And I will see you guys next week. Bert should be back from vacation. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.